Hello and welcome once again to an episode of Monthly Tea with Madeline Foxtrot. I am of course Madeline Foxtrot. Today's tea is Kimon tea, and today's episode is once again brought to you by our friends over at nerdcaliber.com. Nerdcaliber.com has lent us this lovely video camera so we can show you what we could look like if we had better equipment. And they are also going to be hosting our quickie episodes, Madeline Foxtrot Digestibles. You'll be able to find those on the Nerd Caliber YouTube, as well as the full episodes of my show through our parent company, Dogtoon Media. So let's find out what's happening in the world of steampunk today.
This jumping insect is a juvenile Issus coleoptratus, also known as a plant hopper. On the inside of the insect's thighs are two sets of teeth. When it jumps, the teeth lock together, moving past each other at a rate of 50,000 teeth per second. The first time that real working gears have ever been described in an animal, and they may be the first to have appeared on planet Earth.
Now, some people will say that this is the first actual instance of steampunk in real life. This is, in fact, steampunk evolution. Or others have said that this is more of a biopunk thing, because it's real life and the natural world inhabiting clockwork or steam technology. I, however, believe that it is icky! Ew! Gross! What is that thing underneath its leg? Ew! Speaking of things that are disgusting, Hari Kondabolu, a comedian on the FXX show Totally Biased with W. Kamau Bell, recently released a video of his exploits at the Steampunk World's Fair 2013.
Do horses often tell you that you're hung like a human?
If I can toxify the entire world, then I'll be able to survive.
You're Republican.
Oh, absolutely.
Does everybody being wrong collectively about the future?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of steampunks were very mad about this because he insinuated that there were a lot of, well, racial issues within steampunk.
The 1800s wasn't a fun time for, people who weren't white.
Honestly, how could we expect anything else? He is on a show called Totally Biased. But that brings us to our next segment on Monthly Tea with Madeline Foxtrot. Totally Unbiased with Madeline Foxtrot. It is in my completely unbiased opinion that you, Hari Kondabolu, are not funny. I shouldn't have to go any further than this, but I'm Madeline Foxtrot, so I will. Hari, I don't see race. In fact, people tell me that I'm white, and I believe them because I don't see what the problem with colonialism is. I mean, it did some good things, right? Hari, you need to know your audience, and 90% of the steampunk audience is white people. And if there's one thing white people hate more than running out of mayonnaise, it is being told that what they're doing is problematic. Honestly, I can't deal with this. Hari, I demand satisfaction. Alright, Mr. Kondabalu? I say, nerf pistols at dusk by the piers. Get your second. Because I have an anger that I must release on someone, and that someone is you, Mr. Kondabalu. In happier news, I'm being joined by photographer, author, and cosplayer Ger Tysk. She's joining me via video telegraph. Ger, can you hear me?
Well, thank you, Madeline, for having me on your show. I've heard so much about you. This is a great opportunity.
Oh, I assume everyone has heard of me. Now, Ger, you are coming up with a book called Breaking All the Rules. Tell me, are you a cosplay anarchist?
Am I a cosplay anarchist?
That is the question. Are you avoiding the question, Ger?
Well, I'm not so fond of the way cosplay has been portrayed through the media and various, magazine articles and TV, so I decided to put out this book to show what the true face of cosplay is for those of us who actually cosplay.
Now, some people have said that cosplay is a lower form of art. How do you respond?
I'm not sure who has said this. Where have you heard this before?
Me, I have said that cosplay is a lower form of art.
A lot of people have questioned whether cosplay is art. obviously the title of my book is The Art of Self-Expression, so I do think cosplay is art. I think it's just a as valid form of art as painting or woodworking or dance or any of those things, because cosplay does include all of those things. Cosplay is a multifaceted art form. I talk a lot about that in my book. A lot of people do like to make their own costumes, so they sew and they paint and they make props, but also a lot of people enter competitions or they do private photo shoots, and that's another aspect of cosplay that I think the world kind of maybe overlooks, is that there are a lot of people involved in the creation of one costume. It may not be just one person, it's a whole team of the cosplayer, the photographer, the choreographer, the people who run the contests. And it's not like when you think of a fashion shoot, there's a director and the model is just posing. It's a completely different form of this collaboration where the model is the creator as well. For example, the oldest cosplayer, or costumer I should say, who I interviewed for this book is a gentleman named Marty Gear. He's 73. He actually passed away a couple of months ago before the book was published, which is a great loss for the community. But he's been costuming since he was 8. So his view of costuming through the years and how it's changed through the community and all the techniques that we use and just the general genres that people costume or cosplay from has been very valuable for just seeing how it's cosplay, I guess, is not just a modern kind of art form. It's been around since the late 40s, early 50s. We also see in the book there are a lot of people who make really large suits of armor, such as two of my very favorite male cosplayers, Johnny and Junkers, and there's Billy Wynn. Male cosplayers are, I don't want to say rarer than female cosplayers, but it's more rare to find male cosplayers who like getting their picture taken and like talking about it. So I'm very fortunate to have these two guys in this book talking about their creation process, because they are very, very good. As far as what the breadth of cosplayers in the book, I have cosplayers from almost all 50 states. I'm missing, I think, 8.
So you're telling me you didn't do your job?
But I tried very hard to go through the United States and to look for people from every age, every background, every skill level, and that really is very important to me, because cosplay is not just about being the best at making your costume and being the prettiest or being the thinnest or being the most glamorous or winning every single contest that you enter. There's a lot more than that, and self-expression, which again is the title of my book, means a lot to me, because most of these people cosplay in order to become someone else that they admire.
Well, cosplay is great and all, but why try and be someone else when you could just be yourself?
There's a cosplayer from Washington, Allegra Clark. She says that cosplay isn't as much as becoming someone else as bringing out the parts of yourself that are already there and can be embodied through this character.
Ah, and speaking of competition, I've been watching that show on SYFY, all about cosplay. Tell me, did people have to compete to get into your book? If so, how fierce was the competition?
So yeah, I've also been watching the show on Sci-Fi, Heroes of Cosplay. I think it's a very interesting show. It's brought out a lot of discussion, I should say, in the cosplay community. But people didn't really have to compete necessarily to get in the book. I took anyone who was interested. It didn't matter if they made their costume or they were just started cosplaying and bought everything. I wanted to show as many people as I could. So I basically, if anyone was interested, I sent them the interview and I tried to set up a photo shoot if I could. The problem was that I didn't go to as many conventions as I would like because of a limited budget. So a lot of people had to get cut. Some people couldn't make the photo shoot. Some people got sick, which is very unfortunate. And then the very last part is, is your interview interesting and is your photo good? So I think I probably contact around 500, 600 cosplayers, and then at the very end there's about 120 in the book. And it's not a matter of, oh, I think your costume is bad, or I think you're a boring person, but unfortunately the way of the world and how, books work is that I can't really include every single person who I interviewed, and that's really sad, because I think everyone I interviewed is really interesting. And everyone has a really good story. And part of the thing that I want to do as the book is coming out is I'm going to showcase some of the people who didn't make it in the book on, say, like my Facebook page or my web page, and get the word out there that these people, even though they're not in the book, are also really awesome cosplayers.
Oh, and one final question. So, when are you going to come out and take pictures of me for the book? Because, honestly, as the foremost expert on steampunk, I assume that I'm going to be in the book, correct?
So the book is coming out around the end of October. I'm actually submitting the files for the book this week. I started the process last night. I've been talking to a really great printing company called Edition 1 Books. They're located in California. And they've been awesome. Their response time is fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't take your photo for the book because it's coming out soon and I don't have time to come to New York and, I guess, photograph you. I'm really sorry. But I know this wonderful lady who is actually in the book. She's also into Steampunk. Her name is Ashley Rogers. And she has a great page and a great interview and a wonderful photo. So you should buy a copy of the book and you should look for her.
Well, that's all well and good, but that's not me, so I can't officially endorse your book. But it was great having you on the show, Ger. Well, that about wraps it up for today. If you would like to see me duel Hari Kondabolu and bring back the good name of steampunk, please go onto Facebook. Go to facebook.com/totallybiased. Message the webmaster, show them this video, tell them you want to see Hari Kondabolu square off against Madeline Foxtrot. Either way, have a lovely day and a lovely tea.